Welcome back, and joining me with more insight on the day's trade is Andrew Padoa from Sasfin Wealth. Thank you so much for your time, Andrew. Andrew, just looking at this US-UK trade deal that I think was announced yesterday that markets are still trading on. Would you say that as much as maybe US and UK trade isn't that grand, would you say that this is just a positive step for sentiment going forward in terms of the negotiations that are trickling through?
Asanati, I think that's a fair statement. The agreement provided relief in certain sectors, but it still left a lot of things out. My colleague David Shapiro this morning was saying it's kind of like saying you've made a deal, but all you've done is exchange business cards. There's not much substance to it. So yeah, it's a step in the right direction, but there's still a long way to go.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and we know how these things go. You can exchange business cards looking for a job. You can even go for an
100%.
interview, but it doesn't mean that you actually have the job.
Exactly.
Well, another kind of negotiation that we are going to be seeing is at the weekend, and that will be between the US and China, of course. Very, very big focus on this. 145% of tariffs. I even heard from David Shapiro earlier on that apparently even before that, the US says that they are able to reduce those tariffs to 60%. Can we expect fruitful conversation here? Also, do noting that both sides are very stubborn.
Yeah, I think this is the biggie. I think US-UK, look, that's interesting, but I think US-China tariffs, that's got the ability to properly move the markets if that can go the right way, or move markets the wrong way if it ends badly. So let's see what happens over the next couple of days, but that's certainly the big one we need to watch out for.
All right. What about China? China's trade data that actually came out better than what markets had anticipated, both from an import and export side. And noting that April was the month of Liberation Day.
Yes. So what we've seen is Chinese companies have been diverting trade flows to Southeast Asia, to Europe, and to other destinations. US dropped 21% year on year in April, but it rose by an equal amount with the Southeast Asian nations, as well as the EU was up 8%. So kind of US fell, but the rest of the world kind of bumped it up a bit. So net effect is not too different.
All right. Well, let's get into gold. Of course, we know that that has benefited from the uncertainty in the global economic landscape. It came out with quarterly numbers, and actually we've been seeing a lot of those from the miners and even the gold miners. And for me, what was quite interesting is that obviously all of them are reporting great revenue rises, but production has seemed shaky for a lot of them. Anglo Gold, though, gold production up 22%. That headline earnings number 671% higher. How amazing is this?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. Look, we expected good results given what we've seen with the gold price. You know, they've had a huge gold price tailwind, but very encouraging, like you said, to see gold production up. Certainly helps making hay whilst the sun shines. So well done to Anglo Gold.
Indeed. Well, Andrew, let's get on to another counter that has gold operations, and that is Sibanye Stillwater. I actually made a remark earlier that actually that share price did not move as much as I thought it would. I think the last time I checked it was up, I think just under 1%, but really seeing an improvement there. Do you think that there is a significant shifting of gears on Sibanye Stillwater?
So it looks like a lot of the challenge that they've had, they've kind of overcome. So we've seen a lot of restructuring. There's been a lot going on at Sibanye over the last couple of months. But nice to see a first strong quarter, doubling earnings despite producing less gold and platinum group metals compared to last year. But yeah, the share price kind of going nowhere, and it's nowhere compared to where it was a good couple of years ago. And I think that's the risk with investing in cyclical businesses like miners. They're either doing really well or really badly.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's get into financial services. Old Mutual coming out with an announcement today. And quite interestingly, the share price reacting so positively to an announcement that is not the numbers.
Yes.
And actually, someone was making a remark earlier on that Old Mutual has underperformed its peers. Do you think that it could kind of start to level up because of this kind of confidence that has been placed on the leadership changes of Old Mutual?
Yeah, Zanati, Old Mutual's kind of been like a value trap. It's very rare where you see a company's dividend yield exceeds its PE ratio. That's kind of where we are with the Old Mutual at the moment. So they've always had potential, but never kind of delivered. And the likes of Sanlam and Outsurance have kind of blown them away. But look, the CEO announcement, market really likes it. You can't fault his CV. Looks really impressive. He's got the experience from the insurers in South Africa, and importantly, I think he's got a fintech background. I know Jensen Huang from NVIDIA. He said last year at some kind of conference, he said, "Your company's not going to go out of business because of AI. It's going to go out of business because other companies, well, your competitor is using AI. So if you're kind of not on the fintech train." And you're in financials, I think you'll be left behind. So it looks good, and market clearly likes it. So let's see what he does.
Okay, that's actually a very, very interesting point that you make there, Andrew. Well, let us get to your stock pick for today. What are you hanging your hat on?
Sure, Zanati. So I'm going with Amazon. So Amazon's shares have been under pressure this year. They're down 12% in dollar terms, mainly due to concerns around the tariffs. However, beneath the surface, retail business is becoming more efficient. International segments are becoming profitable, and they've still got AWS, which is their powerhouse dominant cloud platform. So Amazon's evolving into more of a higher margin business. And I think for long-term investors, the current valuation offers an attractive entry point to one of the world's most powerful tech companies.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time and for your analysis on what has moved our money this week and today, Andrew. That was Andrew Padoa from Sasfin Wealth.